This is kvci.blogspot.com. George Boston Rhymes. I'm riding on the south side of Valdosta, Georgia, Troop Street. And I want you to look at some of the homes and churches and other things in our community wherein people must live today. And this is what we do. And we do all this because we believe in your right to know. We don't want you to have a false view of reality. I do not want to keep you deaf, dumb, and blind to the times as to what goes on in your beloved community. This is Troop Street, and this has been called by many the black side of town. But it is what it is. And so often we look at the crime that's committed and we wonder why people break in convenience stores, and we wonder why many of our children don't want to attend school. And so we find excuses. We say, well, they would do better if they had more money, or they would do better if their parents were more educated, or if their parents had parental skills wherein they would know how to rear their children so they would not commit crimes. And it's the mothers and fathers' fault, the reason why many black African Americans and poor whites are committing the majority of crime. But very seldom will anybody ask the question in terms of why. They won't ask the question why just a few people in certain contracting fields is one to get the money for building the new schools, building the new roads and pavements in our community. And that question is very seldom asked. When we come out and look at Lomax, Pineville High School used to be, well, even that often causes pain to some people because they wonder, why did we integrate the schools in the first place? Some of us thought that if we integrate, that thing would regulate better and closer around the lines of fairness. Some of us was gravely disappointed. And though Dr. King meant well, it seems as if though integration with the white Europeans was perhaps one of the worst mistakes that black people could ever have done. I guess we keep believing in the United States of America that certain people will treat other people as equals. After 500 years, it might be time for us to understand that there's a great possibility that certain people will never be treated as others in our community. So we look at these impoverished conditions and areas set up for the low, economically depressed. Yet when it comes down to people who are trying to make it better, and they go to the news media and say, we have a story we want brought to the eyes and hearts and minds of the people in Valdosta. And because there is no black newspaper, no black television station, we can't get that information out to the people. And so we are left to wonder, when will things change? Moreover, can our children expect a better life than the one we had? Well, this is what it is. Often I talk to people that come out here, Mr. John Robertson and myself, and we stop We talk to the youth. We ask them, do you like living like this? They respond to us overwhelmingly that they are not equal to other people, and that when they vote people into office, they don't serve their needs. They serve the needs of others, and they see little need of even participating in the electoral process of their own community. This is what we call another world. In order to understand this world, you must be in it. That guy has his bumper off the back of his car. I'm sure he can't afford to get it fixed. If he would, he would. It's just simple. Look at that. Liquor sitting out. Bottles on the ground. They don't own these places. Look at the vehicles that these people drive. Yeah, a lot of people say Valdosta is a beautiful place to live. They talk about Cherry Creek and Kendaloo and Francis Lake. But what you are looking at is the realities of Valdosta. You don't see pictures such as this when people talk about the good life in Valdosta. And so we want you to know the other side of the story. People come packed together. I've talked to people out here, and we had a couple of deaths and shootings out here in this Hudson Docket area. They're refurbishing the homes, and that's good. That's good. But these people need jobs. These people need hope. I know, we say they're not educated. That may be true, and more than likely it is true, but at the same time, if you really want to change the community, then you must change the environment. And so, if there was a work program or training program, or even equal fairness in the job market among educated people, we have been trying for a long time to try to get fairness along the lines of black educators in the Valdosta City School system. We've talked about the 32 seats in a metro city available for citizens to talk and speak before their Board of Education. But very few people will address that issue. Well, this is the Valdosta, Georgia, that you may not know much about. This particular street right here, near Hudson's, look at that cat with the mouse in his mouth. But anyway, we must remember a guy named Sidney Johnson, I'm told, I'm on Hudson Street, was killed in a house in this area during the Week of Terror in 1918, when 13 blacks were lynched, murdered. No grand jury have indicted anybody concerning those deaths. We also have other blacks that have perished in Brooks County, and little to nothing has been done about it. Probably never will, but at least I'm talking about it because I love my fellow man, and I love people outside of myself. This is Martin Luther King Drive. This is an avenue or a street that was dedicated to Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. in a metro city. And this metro city here only have a 7-block street named in honor of Dr. King. That's Wade's Barbershop right there. He has done much work here. We must admit that we see changes in Valdosta. There was a time when there was a lot of shotgun houses down here. Well, that may be was a bad thing, but at least they owned their homes, and a lot of these houses now have been torn down. But less people in Valdosta now own their homes. Many of them, they'll build habitat houses. But what about other areas of our beloved community? What about areas that may look totally different from what you are seeing now? Well, we're going to do another clip a little further north of here. And then we want to, we'll turn and go by Blake's place. And once again, Blake is a contractor, I understand, but I guess he don't fit too much in the establishment. And so I attended several city council meetings where his name came up to serve on some of the boards, and for whatever reason, they don't vote him to serve on these boards. But I'm sure that he is qualified, because if I'm not mistaken, he's going to school to be an attorney. He's studying to do what anybody would want to do, and that's to better themselves. James Wright nominated him twice, and for whatever reason, not even the blacks on the board, for the most part, in some instances, voted to have James Blake as a voice in the community on various boards. And here again, this is the south side of Valdosta, Georgia. And I do this because I want you to know what's going on. Y'all excuse me for being truthful. I'm asking you all to forgive me for showing you what others may never want you to know. But this is the fact of reality. This is Valdosta, Georgia. This is Martin Luther King Avenue. How you doing? This is the street that is dedicated to a Nobel Peace Prize winner, well known around the world for the work he did on behalf of humanity. But this is the only street in Valdosta dedicated to Martin Luther King Jr. in Valdosta, Georgia. Yes, they have built a corridor, and they have honored it to that memories of that great man. But we're going to travel that entire street. I want you to see what a metro city has dedicated to such an outstanding human being. Stick around.